I'm Ray Betts. I'm here today to walk through the new process that you guys are going to have to do out in the field for the DPS setup. Basically what we're going to do is we're going to enhance what you guys are already doing. So we're going out in the field on a normal process. We're doing the void update or the acceptance test, or whichever terminology for whoever's watching the video here needs to know. So basically what we're going to do off of that is we're going to take our material, we're going to dump it in our pan, blend it together, get everything set up. We're going to normally do 2 pucks, 1 max gravity rice test, so that we can figure out our air voids. The additional test that we normally take off of that is the extraction. So we do all the normal tests. The additional test that we are going to do, that you guys are going to watch us do today, is the sample is going to be much larger. Okay? We've gone ahead and we've taken enough material so we can take 3 additional specimens out of our mix. We're going to do 1 additional puck at design. So we've got our 2 already that we've got for acceptance. We do 1 additional that's going to be the same compaction level. And then we take 2 additional pucks out of that we're going to do something else to that I'll cover as we go through this. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the mix and I'm going to start blending it together. And before seeing the video here, all you guys have probably read through the documentation for setup for this. And so you'll know how much material we're taking for that. So whether it's a 5-gallon pail, whether in the case that I'm doing here, I've got 2 3.5-gallon pails. We got multiple cylinders, we got multiple boxes, whatever you guys are taking the samples in, just make sure you get plenty of material to be able to run through your tests. We've got the first 3.5-gallon pail. Blend that together, and to make room inside my pan for the other one, I'm going to go ahead and take 1 puck out to start off with. My first puck here, what I'm going to shoot for my target is 4,900 grams. So go ahead and batch that out. Trying to be representative when you're doing it, just like we showed you in class. Okay, so I've got my first specimen set up. Okay, so I've got the other pail inside. Blended my material completely, so I have no segregation in my mix. I spread it out here. My second puck. All right, so we've got our first 2 acceptance pucks set up. Get those in the oven so they come up to temperature for compaction. Like I said, we're going to go ahead and batch up the rest of the material right now as normal. So I'm taking up my rice test. Okay, so I've got that. So we got that rice test batched up. Then we're going to go ahead and reblend, get our extraction out. Okay, we got our extraction. Set it up with this paperwork for this information. So we've gone ahead, we've gotten all our base tests out now. So here is where we start doing the additions. So in the packet, it talks about puck A, B, and C. Puck A is an additional puck at design. So I'm going to grab that first. Weight that I was shooting for those first 2 acceptance pucks for this one was 4,900. I got a little over there. I don't call that close enough for what we're doing. Take this, stick it in the oven, and get it up to temperature. My next puck, I'm shooting for a middle percent air void. So similar to allotment, we're shooting for about 7% air voids. So as I reblend this, I can explain a little bit better to you guys. So we've got our design puck, whether we're shooting for 3% or 4%. Our additional pucks, one's going to be a little bit higher than that in voids. It's going to be about 7 or so. Depends on how this comes out. Our last puck is about 15% air voids, somewhere in there. So in order to achieve that, what we've found out through trial and error is if we take from that 4,900, if we take 250 grams out for our middle one, so now I'm going to shoot for 4650. Take a little bit out of that. Okay, and get that one back in the oven. And now our high void puck that we're going to shoot for. Our high voids, we're going to take an additional 250 grams out. So from the beginning, all right, we had 4,900. We're taking 500 total grams out for our last puck. So now our target is 4,400. Like that. Okay, and getting that back up into the oven. Sure. We're going to go ahead and take it out of the oven. Bring it over here, set it inside the machine. This particular mix is a level 4 mixture. For level 4 from Minnesota, we're going out to 90 gyrations for our design. As soon as it compacts to the 90 gyrations, I'm going to take it out, extrude it, put it in front of a fan, and cool to room temperature. So the first 3 pucks that I'm going to do two are the acceptance, and 1 is the DPS sample. So we're going to run all 3 of those out first for the 90 gyrations. Then I'll take the average of those 3 heights and I'll reset the machine to the height that those were at. And then we're compacting the volume instead of number of gyrations. Okay? So that's what is going to happen next. On all 90 gyrations, I've gone ahead, opened up the door, bring it over on this particular machine to the extruder, and extrude the sample. And like I mentioned previously here, I'm going to go ahead after I extrude it and set it in front of a fan to cool the room temperature. So remove my paper from the top. Paper on the bottom. Get it in front of the fan here and mark my sample. So, okay, and then I'm going to continue on with my other 2 pucks. So, get this back in the oven and grab my other 2. So we've gone ahead, we've compacted all 3 pucks now. We've got the 2 acceptance. I just got done compacting the 3rd puck, and this puck is going to be used for the DPS testing. So I'm going to take this one out, set it in front of the fan, and then using the data the heights that came off the gyratory for each of my 3 pucks. I'm going to take an average of the 3 final heights, and then I'm going to plug that into my gyratory. And what I'm going to do there is I'm going to go from gyrations to a height. And I will show you how to do that in 1 second. On ahead, we've compacted all the samples, we got the sheets, we know our final heights. So I'm going to go ahead and get the average of my 3 final heights. So my average that I'm going to use here is 116.0 is what I'm going to type into my machine, and you guys will see that in just a second. Okay, so we've gone ahead, we've got the 116. On the pine here, what I'm going to do is go into the compaction mode, change it from gyrations to height. Now it's set for a height versus gyrations. I'm going to select it and change my height to stop at 116.0. Okay, so we're set and ready to go. Once we have that set, we lock in that height, and now we're compacting to volume. And by compacting to volume versus number of gyrations, we're able to achieve the void range that we're looking for that middle range and for the high range. Okay, the most important thing right now for this puck and for the one following is we're going to not try to extrude this right away. It only went to 22 gyrations. Okay? It is more air voids than our previous sample going to 90. Okay, so we're going to take that, we're going to set it in front of the fan. In this case, for the 7% one, we're going to set it in front of the fan. It's going to be hit and miss. You guys are going to have to play with this for what you're doing. For my case here, I'm going to set it in front of the fan for 20 minutes before I extrude it so that it'll set up and won't mushroom out and fall all over the place. Okay, to wrap up what we're talking about here, we've gone ahead, we've made our 3 pucks instead of 2 pucks for acceptance. One of those pucks is never going to hit the water. It is only going to be tested for DPS. So we've got 3 pucks, in this case, for this particular example, 4% air voids. We made 1 puck where we pulled 250 grams out of the original batch weight. That one is going to be approximately 7% air voids. Off of that, we went ahead and pulled another 250 grams out of the last puck that we batched up, giving us a total of 500 less than our original batch up weight. Out of all those, we've compacted them down. The first ones go to number of gyrations. The next ones go to height. As soon as we have all those cooled down, the 7% is cooling for approximately 20 minutes. The 15%, the highest puck, is approximately 40 minutes. Yet again, give or take, based on how you guys have your lab set up for cooling. As soon as we get those extruded, we're going to stick them in front of the fan, cool them to room temperature, and start bulking them out the same way that we would for the acceptance ones. The other ones are core lock. If we're going to go ahead and do those for DPS, it's core lock only. We are never going to hit the water for our extra acceptance, our 7% or our 15. With that, if you guys have any questions, get a hold of us. We'll try to help you through this the best that we can. Thanks, and have an awesome day.